Good morning. Morning break. It's Tuesday, inching closer to the weekend. That's what I always say. Every day after Monday is a good day. It's good to be with you on the morning break today. And man, I've got a special guest. AnnaLynn is going to be with us. EPW. She is more than just a wrestling person. We're going to talk to her coming up in the second segment of the show today. It's going to be fun. EPW premieres this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central. You can figure yourself out past that because the rest of the country, we don't care. Once you go past Central, like whatever, just figure yourself out. But EPW and their brand new show debuting this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time on Abundant TV. That's going to be fun. It's going to be a great talk here coming up in just a little bit. Lot to talk about. Yesterday, of course, National Coffee Day, and we talked about that on the show. And it's interesting to find out how people think. A lot of people, I think more than I even expected, still drink their coffee black. And I think that's fine. Now, here's my thing on this. And I'll get into this right away, because I wanted to talk about this. So I think that's fine. I think as I've gotten older, though, I like my coffee stronger. And so I've got to put a little cream in it to kind of take that edge off of it. And I'm somewhere, if you can go, can we tilt it down? You can't. No, you can't see. Trust me. But it's in there. I have creamer in there. And it's one of the neat things. The great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee have believed in Abundant TV since I think we started really working together in February of this past year. My wife found them, and they're a great company. 7 Weeks Coffee. Hey, listen, they believe in helping pregnancy centers throughout the United States. 7 Weeks Coffee. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. Listen, a couple of things I wanted to talk about off the top of the show before we really get into today. And I'm super excited about this. First thing, and this I think is so neat. I think this is incredible. I don't know if you saw this, Rockwall, Texas, this past Sunday at Lake Point Church, 700 people got baptized. How cool is that? 700 people. Pastor said it was like a hurricane of grace. I love that. I think we should get shirts that say that. Anyway, we'll do some follow-up on that, but I thought that was super cool. But now here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. That was like one of those things I saw online last night, and I went, we got to talk about that during the show. I think that's incredible. 700 people baptized. He said there were people sitting like in the stairwells getting ready to be baptized. He said, I've never seen anything like it. He said, it blew me away. And I think I love stuff like that. That is just incredible. Look at the weather scrolling across the bottom of the screen. If you're in Phoenix, you don't know it's fall yet. Denver, though, you're starting to feel like it's fall. Kansas City, 83. This is the thing. My wife and I talked about this. And I think I talked about it yesterday on the show. It does not feel like fall yet. I am wearing a hoodie just because it's almost fall. 72 in Seattle, my former city. 72 this time of year. That they've got to be freaking out and feeling like it is super, super warm. And here's the thing though, with this warm fall, couple things. One, I want to talk about this. Are you to the point where you're kind of tired of the whole pumpkin spice thing? I'm going to ask my guest when she comes on. We'll see about what she feels about this. But listen, it was cool when pumpkin spice, of course, talked about the fact I was from Seattle, and of course Starbucks having pumpkin spice coffee, a lot of pumpkin spice lattes, stuff like that. It was fun. But now I don't know. Is it kind of like we've jumped the shark with the pumpkin spice stuff? Because now they've got pumpkin spice bagels, pumpkin spice pancakes. You go any place and there are all kinds of pumpkin stuff. Of course, it was at Bath and Body Works, one of my favorite places. They should be a sponsor, by the way. I'm serious about that. They should be a sponsor for the morning show with Rob Patz. I think that would be great. Or Abundant TV in general, the way my wife spends there. Anyway, but no, so the pumpkin spice thing, and I get it because it's fall and we love fall, talking about the hoodies, talking about the whole thing. By the way, Vermont reports a record fall foliage season. They're drawing tourists nationwide. And I love that. I love that for them. By the way, did you know there's a term that my wife knew? And I was then later uh, educated. It was actually just this year that they're called leaf peepers. People that travel. I swear to you, this is not, I did not make this up. I researched it because I thought she was just pulling my leg. But they're called leaf peepers. Vermont says they've had the most influx already of visitors from around the United States, from far away as California. A lot of people, according to this article, a lot of people from the West Coast have been heading to Vermont. And you know what's super funny? And I hate to say this, my wife was like, "Let's go to Vermont this fall," because we plan a fall trip every year. And I was like, "Yeah, that's." We were going to go to Burlington, and it was on our radar. I kid you not. We had all this stuff, and my wife watched, because my wife is a planner, and she watched all these YouTube videos, and I was into it. And then I went, "Yeah, that sounds like fun." And we went to Portland, Maine, a couple years ago. But it sounded like fun. But ends up, looks like we're going to land. We haven't actually planned, you know, put the money down on the airline tickets or anything yet, but the plan as of right now is probably late October, early November in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's where we're headed. But glad for Vermont, glad for tourism in the United States. It's always cool, and it is something on my bucket list to do, is go and check out the fall in Vermont. I think it'd be awesome. Hey, we've talked about coffee a lot in this opening segment. The great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee have a fantastic deal right now. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order and get 10% off. Here's my suggestion on this. Get the variety pack. Maybe you don't like dark roast coffee. Maybe you like a medium blend or a breakfast blend. It doesn't matter. Get the whole bean, get the ground, get it in a K-cup. It does not matter, but get their delicious coffee. If you've never experienced small roast coffee before, you need to check out the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee. My guest will be with us after the break.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Great folks, 7 Weeks Coffee. If you've never tried small batch roasted coffee and you consider yourself a coffee nut, you need to check out 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. And I'm going to ask my guest. AnnaLynn is with us from EPW. AnnaLynn, do you like coffee?
I like the effects of coffee, but I don't like the taste of it. So,
So are you like one of those people that like it's a lot of cream and just a little bit of coffee?
I don't do a whole lot of cream. I just try to put some flavor in there.
So pumpkin spice is your friend then.
I like to say that I like pumpkin spice, but I heard you talking earlier about like the pumpkin spice bagels and pancakes, and that's the route I usually go with the pumpkin spice.
See, now I like the pancakes. Okay. I'm just not sure. It seems overwhelming when you have pumpkin spice pancakes. I don't know. It's just, it's not my thing.
I love it. And I got 3 boys. I've got 3 boys too. And so they're a pancake lover. And so we get creative with all the different flavors sometimes too.
Oh, see, I love pancakes. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like, I'm serious. It was so, my wife and I, just a quick story. So wife and I, one of our first dates was going to breakfast. We were at an event. She's a singer. And so she was singing. I was at this event also, and we went to breakfast. So breakfast kind of became a part when we got married, just a little over 4 years ago. We had breakfast for our reception. We had like a brunch. It was really fun. So we had all kinds of, we had pancakes, the whole thing.
I
So I
love
love
that.
pancakes. I do. If you follow me on Instagram, you realize that about half my pictures are pancakes. So, or breakfast in general. So, AnnaLynn, I want you to tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we're going to talk a little bit about EPW. Of course, we've talked about the fact they're starting this Saturday, but tell everybody a little bit about you prior to your EPW time.
Yeah, so January made 17 years that I've been in the business of professional wrestling. Grew up around it too, so I've been around it for even longer than that, since I was about 6 years old. And then recently, about a year ago, this month or next month, I graduated from college, getting my bachelor's degree in entertainment business as well. So we jokingly say that I'm the resident expert, if you will. So the professional wrestling is definitely a passion, and everything about it, especially when you spoke earlier about the creative part of it. I love creating. I love character development and the psychology behind professional wrestling, getting to bring all of that to life. And just now working at EPW, it's become such an amazing thing to also explore faith through passion of wrestling as well.
So, talk about, and I've always found this, and I love what you said about stories.
Mm.
How long before you pitch a story to somebody? How long are you working on it in your head?
So it just depends on how I'm working on it. So there's been times where I'm just driving and something hits me immediately. And you can even ask Kyle, I'm calling him. I'm like, hey, I've got this idea. And it's just immediate. And I need to like, write this down, because I'm driving. And, there's other times it takes a lot longer. You're rolling and rolling and rolling. And I find beauty in the fact that I have ADHD and I use it to my advantage. So a lot of times it looks like I'm just doing something random and it's 2 o'clock in the morning and creativity just hits me, and I set up my computer and I just start typing, and it's like type revision, type revision, type revision. And, so it looks different. It just, when it strikes, it strikes. I'll roll stuff around. And so sometimes it can take a while for it to finally roll around to hit something. And sometimes, like I said, it's immediate and I'm on the phone with somebody. I'm like, you got to write this down.
So I want to dive into a couple things. First of all, you grew up in a wrestling home.
Mm-hmm.
So you know the background of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the part you said that your brothers, which this surprised me, your brothers weren't that interested, not as interested as you were.
Yeah.
Right. And so you would travel with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a super neat story. Tell everybody though, on your 16th birthday, what he had.
So leading up to my 16th birthday, like I said, that had been about 10 years I've been on the road with my dad, and I had been begging. I'm like, I want to do something. I want to do something. Please, just anything. Like, I don't care what it is. Just let me do it. And shortly after my 16th birthday, my dad, for the first time, let me manage for the first time on a show. And that was just the first little taste I got of doing a show and everything. And it just took off from there.
And I love the other thing you talked about with me, and that is your background in dance. You did dance. So because what I love about wrestling is it tells a story. And dance tells a story without ever saying a word.
Absolutely. That's what I tell people. A lot of times if people actually see me wrestle, which I don't do very much anymore, but the biggest compliment I get is how expressive I am. And I tell them, people ask me for advice on it, and I tell them the biggest thing is to take dance lessons. And a lot of people don't realize the background before I got started in wrestling. And I did over 12 years of dancing in all the genres. And I also went and played a season of intramural football at Oklahoma State University. And I tell people, it's the years of dance when you're doing ballet and lyrical, especially, like, you learn to speak without using your words. So you're using your face and your body to extend the words out from yourself. And that's really how that can translate into wrestling, as well as, like we said earlier, like the helping with footwork and core work with doing moves, like there's so much benefits that cross over from doing other sports like dance.
So I want to ask you a question. So maybe there's you said you had 3 children.
Mhm.
So there may be a young person out there right now that says, I really want to do wrestling.
Oh, man.
And maybe give this advice not only to those, but to your own children. I really want to do wrestling. Like, it's something I really want to. What would be a first step? What would be something that they could start, even if they're young? Let's say they're like you were in your teens. What could be something they could do to kind of get that first step in?
Well, especially if they're young, it's like places like EPW have a phenomenal kids program. And my biggest thing that I tell the kids in the kids program is like safety first. Like we've got to protect ourselves and our bodies for the long run if we're starting so early. So take advantage of those programs like that, but also remember you want to do this for a long time. So, be careful with all like the bumping and throwing and knee pads and elbow pads. And if any of the kids are watching, they know that I preach this a lot. And and I tell too, one thing that was beneficial to my career is when I actually was finishing up with my wrestling training and I was just about to debut on my home promotion at the time. That's when I found out I was pregnant with my oldest son. And so my training kind of halted. And I remember I was so upset. And my trainer was like, no, it doesn't stop. We're just pivoting. And so then I got 9 months of that psychology and character development training instead of the in ring training. So just because you can't do physical things, like if you're not around a kids program or just around a place where you can get access to a ring, or there's other things you can train to help you get there whenever you finally get to the point where you can travel to a ring or travel to a program or training facility. Like there's so much you can do. And that's a lot of times I work with my kids. And my oldest has been going to shows with me since he was 2 weeks old, and then the other two have followed. And we do a lot of the character development and psychology and doing promos and dress up and like creating characters. We do a lot of that at home.
So, are there any future wrestlers in
Oh,
your?
it is all wrestling all the time in my house. Like I said, all I have is boys. And mind you, too, I was the youngest of three. I had two older brothers. And then growing up in a male dominated industry, it's just so much wrestling in my house. And I never put the pressure on my kids. I leave it a choice to them. Like if they don't want to do it, that's perfectly fine. If they do, that's perfectly fine, too. And I was very much of the stance of, I wanted my work to be my own. So I didn't really follow my father or work with him or use that attachment. I didn't have him train me or any kind of connection like that. I didn't want to be somebody's daughter or whatever. And so that's what I encourage my kids to. It's like, I won't train you. I will help you as far as us having these conversations and, stuff like that. And if you're doing something I don't feel like is safe or right, if you will, then I might say something. But otherwise, like if you want to do wrestling, that is your choice on your terms.
So you talked a little bit about EPW having a program for youth. Tell everybody a little bit more about that.
Oh man, I love the kids program so much. I've got to work with those kids since shortly after I started, and we do like character develop clinic days where I get to work like a full day with these kids, and it's so crazy too because I've helped train and coach adults in professional wrestling, and so I'm going in this thinking like, yes, they're kids, so you have the expectations of the kids, and that's all fine. But what I didn't realize is I really stepped into like the mama in me stepped out first with these kids and just loving them and getting to know them and help them develop and see that drive and that want to do this and everything at such a young age. And then I'm thinking about myself and I'm like, man, like what if I had this when I was their age? Like, so it's such a huge honor and blessing to be asked to be a part of that and be able to help and work with all those kids and build those connections with them and, help guide them. And like it's truly been amazing. They have a phenomenal program there. We have Ryan Hart, Dewey Declan, and HBO that are also coaching there for the kids program, and they do such a great job with those kids. And again, they have to memorize Bible verses as well to have the be able to get in the ring and do those things and stuff. And it's just all around such a great program. I can't say enough good things about it. And I wish I lived closer to all of our EPW families so I could be down there more because that's the only thing that drives me crazy.
Well, you never know what God has, but it's incredible. I have to be honest with you. I'd never heard about a program like this
It's rare. Well,
for.
'cause it can be dangerous, especially when we're working with growing bodies. And a lot of people, it is sometimes controversial and stuff, but, I will say, and I was even hesitant, as a mother, I don't let my kids bump around or do moves in a ring. And I'm like, hey, if I see this happening, I'm coming after you. But again, we pivot and we do other things with my kids. And so I was hesitant on my own, but they're so good with how they approach it. And so like safety first is like the huge thing that they encompass. And that is what makes it so successful, I believe.
So anything that you can share without sharing anything about the future of storylines on EPW? What is one thing we should watch in the next few weeks? What is one storyline?
Man, you gotta watch it all.
Well,
I
I
can't
know,
I can't
but
give it away. It's all honestly, the team and everything at EPW has worked so hard, and not only for our before we even had, the opportunity to be on Abundant TV, we worked so hard to give, our viewers a good show with good stories, and they, my thing that I always tell when I'm coaching and everything is, the wrestling brings them in, but give them the stories, the drama, the excitement to sink their teeth in, wanting them to come back for more, to get that second bite. And that's really, I think, what we do, and we do a really good job at. And so really there's not a single storyline that is going on, at EPW that's not exciting and a must-see thing. So I just encourage everybody to watch everything, because and I know that's such a cliche thing
that,
to say, but
that was
everything
such
new
a
is so much.
non-answer. Come on. I am going to call you AnnaLynn if you keep doing that.
That's okay.
Okay, final question. Since you grew up around a wrestling home,
Mhm.
and I hate to say it because it's a cliche statement in wrestling, but your Mount Rushmore, your 4 favorite all-time wrestlers. Come on, if you watched with Mr. Kyle, you should have known this question was coming. You should have been prepared.
Okay, I already know, okay, Undertaker has always been my top favorite. He's influenced not only my on-screen work, but the way I conduct myself, and the behind the scenes as well. I know that I know I got to work a lot with Kevin Von Erich, and he's become a huge influence in how he carries himself. And he's definitely on my Mount Rushmore now. Getting to work with him and seeing how he carries himself, and just his faith and his devout faith in that. Like there's so much. They talk about like the tragedy that's happened on the Von Erich family and stuff, and that man is such a joy to speak with, because he never speaks with it with heaviness or negativity or anything like that. Like he's such a lighthearted individual. And that's a good reminder that even in the world of professional wrestling, to move through like he does. So in that aspect, that now to think of 2 more,
Yes.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. I think
Wow.
I pull influence from a lot of people, a lot of things from outside of wrestling, and it really is hard for me to pick a 4 top, because I feel like it also changes over the years. Um, but I don't know if I can give you 2 more.
Okay. Okay. Well, and then we're gonna do what Mr. Kyle did. He gave a shout out to two. I think he gave only one, so you can give two of your favorite wrestlers, and I think I know one of them, but 2 of your favorite wrestlers in EPW. Then,
I'll have to give a shout out to my fiance, of course.
well, I
I
was
think
hoping that was one of. It's where I led you, just in case, because
yeah.
you still gotta. Yeah.
I also want to give a huge shout out, Lynn. She is our first ever. Her and Killa Kate were our first ever women's match on the show. It was a really cool moment that we had at Silver Revival with Lynn versus Killa Kate with Nicole, which is Lynn's mom, as the first match with me ring announcing. So the first all women's everything right there. That was such an amazing thing. And she's now she'll be here this next Saturday. She's going to be on the show there on Abundant TV. And as the director of the women's division, getting to work with her, and also be working with Haley, that will be on the show as well. And we're starting a women's division, and that's so exciting. And sometimes that can be a lot of pressure. So I want to give a shout out to her, because I'm so excited to see her work. And I have so much faith in her being able to lead this division.
That's so awesome. Hey, you know what we need to do? We need to have you back on, have all of the ladies of EPW on, and do a ladies show. I think that'd be fun.
That would be
I think that'd
fun.
be cool.
PW women love it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for being with us. Hey, we're going to come back. We've got a final thought after this.
Social media today is noisy, divided, and too often hostile to Christian values, a place where truth is twisted and faith is often silenced. What if there was a place for believers where you could share your story, grow in your faith, and be encouraged every day? Introducing Acts Social, the #1 Christ-centered social platform built to unite Christians worldwide in truth, hope, and love. Share your faith openly. Discover powerful, uplifting content. Join prayer groups. Encourage others. Find news and events from a biblical worldview all in one place. And do it all free from big tech censorship, invasive tracking, and endless ads. Because the body of Christ was never meant to be scattered. It was meant to be together, every day, everywhere. ActsSocial.com, the fastest growing platform for Christ-centered connection. Join us and be part of something eternal.
Hey, I want to thank AnnaLynn for being with us. EPW this Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Wow. It's going to be cool. It's going to be amazing. Love the heart of everybody at EPW. And I want to do a woman's show. Maybe we can do that here in the next few weeks. I will be talking to her. We'll see what we can do about setting that up. I think it'd be fun to hear their stories. Final story and final thought for today. You know that we're headed back to the moon? I didn't know this actually until just recently. A lot of talk about it. We're headed back to the moon in 2026. It's kind of interesting. Why did it take so long? And kind of just the whole thing. They're doing all kinds of drills, of course, hanging out in zero gravity again. I think that's kind of interesting, and I'm glad that they're doing that. I had one comment, by the way, sent me a text that said pumpkin spice is not a coffee drink. Wow, that was a text that was sent to me. I thought that was kind of harsh because pumpkin spice lattes are like they've got to be hot though. It's just one of those things. It can't be cold. I don't do well. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't do well with pumpkin spice. I tried it once and I went, it just it's a totally different. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd like it. Now I like pumpkin pie and that's cold. So I don't get it. I don't know. Anyway, it has been another great edition. EPW again. Remember this coming Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 Central, and figure it out if you live anywhere else. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And I have had a cool opportunity to see the first show already, and it's going to be fun. You're not going to want to miss it this Saturday. What a great show. AnnaLynn was here with us from EPW. Thanks to all of you who have been sharing the morning break. This started just a little over 3 weeks ago, and it has been so much fun. And I am so blessed. Thank you for the text messages, the personal messages, and everything else that we have going on. Got a great guest tomorrow. You're going to want to check that out as we change gears a little bit. I've got a great pastor who's going to be with us tomorrow here on the morning break. Hey, the show was designed for you and I just to hang out and talk like we're having coffee together. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's another day. Go out and kill it. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the morning break.